Dynasty Fantasy Football. Isaiah Likely's surgery impacts Mark Andrews' rankings. Big shake-up in Dynasty tight end rankings. Isaiah Likely's foot surgery could catapult Mark Andrews into elite territory. But here's where it gets controversial. Will we overvalue Andrews based on temporary circumstances? Training camp injuries have already started reshuffling fantasy rosters, and Wednesday brought the latest bombshell. Isaiah Likely is scheduled for foot surgery that could threaten his availability for Week 1. Ian Rappaport's report makes Likely's early season recovery uncertain, though it doesn't entirely rule him out. This development instantly alters the dynasty and redraft outlook at tight end, especially for his Ravens backfield mate, Mark Andrews. I immediately trimmed Likely's projected target share from 10% to 9%, while nudging Andrews from 14% up to 15%. That might seem minor, but in a crowded TE landscape, every half point of opportunity matters. Should Likely hit a setback and fall further behind schedule, Andrews' volume and his fantasy ceiling could climb even more. Of course, if Likely nails his 6-week rehab plan, we could see the pendulum swing back by mid-season. Here's the part most people miss. Likely's overall ranking barely budged. Why? In 2024, he exploded in Week 1 with 9 catches on 12 targets for 111 yards and a touchdown versus Kansas City, only to see just 13 targets and 96 yards across the next 5 games. He remains a high upside backup who's 1 injury away from top 5 status. Even if he sits out a week or two, his ceiling was always capped by sharing snaps with Andrews. My advice, don't panic sell. If you can pick him up at a discount, you're banking on his long-term potential at age 25. Just account for the risk that the recovery could drag on. Andrews is a different animal. Last season, he hauled in 15.9% of his targets for touchdowns, an unsustainable spike compared to his career average of around 7%. Expect regression there, and the only way to offset it is more targets. A 1% bump in target share moves him up to TE12 in my current Dynasty rankings. But Baltimore's offense projects among the league's least pass-heavy, and veteran Zay Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins, and Rashad Bateman still command the lion's share of looks. In short, Andrews needs either another Likely injury or another outlandish touchdown streak to truly dominate. I'd lean towards selling Andrews on this news rather than buying, unless he bursts out of the gate and silences the doubters. The biggest climber in my board is Elijah Arroyo, vaulting from TE23 to TE13 after the Seahawks cut Noah Fant. That roster move hands Arroyo an immediate path to significant snaps, highlighting just how narrow the gap is among the second-tier Dynasty tight ends. If you missed Jamie Eisenberg's July sleeper alert on Arroyo, now's the time to catch up. This could be one of 2025's stealth breakout stories. Here's the million-dollar question. Does Likely's injury really tip the scales for Andrews? Or is this just a storm in a teacup destined to blow over once Week 1 kicks off? Sound off below. Do you see Andrews emerging as the fantasy TE1? Or is it still too risky to hold or buy? Let the debate begin. Isaiah Likely's injury update. Will he play Week 1 for the Ravens? Here's a twist that could shake up the Ravens season. Their rising tight end, Isaiah Likely, walked off the field with a fractured foot during practice, yet could still be in the lineup for Week 1. Sounds surprising? Let's unpack why this injury might not derail Baltimore's plans, and where the real drama lies. Sources close to the team revealed to ESPN that Likely sustained a small fracture in his foot during a one-on-one drill against safety Sanusi Kane. The injury occurred on the final play of Tuesday's session, with Likely carted off the field and later seen limping into the locker room. While the timing seems risky for a player entering the final year of his rookie contract, the Ravens are optimistic. If recovery progresses smoothly, Likely could return as early as the September 7th opener against the Buffalo Bills. But here's where it gets controversial. Should a team even consider starting a player with a fractured foot? Critics argue it's a gamble with long-term health, while supporters might point to the Ravens' history of managing tight timelines for star players. What's your take? Should coaches prioritize short-term wins over player safety? Let's put this into context. Likely 25 is coming off a breakout 2023 season, where he set career highs with 42 catches, 477 yards, and 6 touchdowns. His chemistry with fellow tight end Mark Andrews was historic. Their 17 combined touchdown catches last season were the most by any tight end duo in the NFL. Now, with Likely's status uncertain, the spotlight shifts to Charlie Kolar, a blocking specialist who caught just 9 passes last year. Could he step into a larger role? Is likely this is time. And this is the part most people miss. The Ravens tight end trio, Likely, Andrews and Kolar, faces an expiration date. All 3 are set to become free agents after this season. A strong finish could push their market value, but a prolonged injury for Likely might force Baltimore to rethink its strategy. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN adds a layer of intrigue. While Likely's $3.4 million salary this year is modest for a player of his potential, his performance could justify a contract extension. But if he's sidelined, the Ravens might need to rely more heavily on Andrews and Kolar, both of whom have different skill sets. So, what do you think? Is the Ravens' plan to start Likely in Week 1 bold or reckless? Could this injury reshape the tight end market this off-season? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear the debate.